Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Please consider subscribing. I'm gonna talk to you about why I do not support, why I do not buy knockoffs or fake fragrances. I do feel that no matter how often I talk about those topics, it's an evergreen topic. It's always a hot topic to talk about, and there's always something new to add. To it. So I'm gonna start off saying, and it's very important, if you do wear and you do buy those kind of fragrances, you buy knockoffs, you buy fake fragrances, just stay out of trouble and you do you do what makes you happy. I'm not saying that you're wrong and I'm right. Um, it's I'm talking about myself, and for me, buying and let's do that. I'm not talking about fake fragrances because fake fragrances is just it's like I'm not I do not support it. I do not support fake culture. I do not support fake items, and if I'm not able to afford a certain fragrance, then I'm just not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna buy a fake because I know that I'm buying a fake, and if I'm buying a fake and I'm gonna display it, sort of I do have this item. I'm just fooling myself. So fakes, I'm not talking about fakes. I'm not saying I'm talking about knockoffs. Knockoff is let's say there's a super popular fragrance. Let's take the Baccarat Rouge because it's a super popular fragrance. It has been for so many years, and I have a sneaky suspicion it's gonna be for some years more. So let's say there's the Baccarat Rouge, and there's so many fragrances that sort of have this vibe of Baccarat Rouge, but they're not knockoffs. Those are the fragrances that they have kind of similar vibes, but they are produced by fragrance houses and they have a distinctive name and name of this brand and name of the fragrance. But I'm talking about those that are sort of you can buy them. There's a certain catalog and the numbers, and you step in the shop and you say that I want Baccarat Rouge, and they tell you, I don't know, I just made up this number 12. So number 12 is your fragrance, and how much do you want? And they just pour you in the bottle that you can buy there, and they pour like 10 mil or 30 mil or 100 mil, and you just pay this amount of money, and you may or you may not say to everyone that I'm wearing the Baccarat Rouge, although you know exactly that it's not the Baccarat Rouge. So again, I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about why I do not support this thing. I do not support it because probably it has something to do about the fact that I have spent some years in academia. I was studying and writing some things and the reports and papers and whatnot. And uh, there was one hot topic, and it's still a hot topic, the plagiarism. We were so afraid to be accused of it, and we had to kind of check everything we say, everything we state in the paper for the plagiarism, because it's a crime. I mean, it's a crime. So how do I transport it to the fragrance? For me, it is very important to acknowledge the intellectual property of of a person, of a brand. So kind of making a knockoff of this is like it's violating of the intellectual property. So let's take the Baccarat Rouge fragrance. I do quite enjoy it. I like the extract more than I do the regular one. So if we go in a shop and uh, let's say so many people say that a fragrance of Ariana Grande is just like the Baccarat Rouge. I have tested the Ariana Grande fragrance. I don't find it that similar. I mean, it definitely it has some kind of similarity in the opening, but then it's a totally different fragrance. It's not similar. And then they say that the Burberry Her and some iterations of Burberry Her have some similarities. I do have two of the Burberry Her. I mean, in the beginning they might resemble, but still it's a different fragrance. So, and those are not the knockoffs. Those are the fragrances. There's this popular note that there's in the Baccarat Rouge, this sort of ambergris and saffron and this sweetness. And those brands, they simply try to kind of to throw in those notes because it's a trend. They're just following the trend, and I have nothing against it. I have nothing against it. What I'm against are those brands that just copy the whole thing. And what's worse, those certain brands that you step in the shop and you can choose from the list the name of the fragrance, of the popular fragrance, and you say that, oh well, I want 30 mils of that, and they pour it to you in this in the container that you can buy in the same shop, same shop, and you walk out with 30 ml of Baccarat Rouge, which is not Baccarat Rouge, obviously. And sometimes they even say that, well, it's produced in the same factory, it's just the same thing, that because the Baccarat Rouge is so expensive because it has a fancy bottle and the advertisement, and our is just the same liquid, it just has it doesn't have fancy packaging. So this is what I'm against, because for me, intellectual property is, well, it should be respected. We know that when we get a super expensive fragrance, probably 60-70% of it goes to the advertisement, to the brand, to the all the fuss around it, and the fragrance, it doesn't really cost that much to make, especially not when it's all in the lab. We know that, but we are able and we are ready to spend this money because we know that we have a branded item and a good brand and the good quality and the research and the work, and we have to pay the nose that created the fragrance. We have to pay the advertisement. We have to pay the girl that is the face of the fragrance. I mean, all the stuff, and it's how it works. It works like that, and I'm agreeing with that. It should be like that. The work should be rewarded, and I might or I might not agree with certain pricing of certain brands. And I have said like so many times that for me, like for example, the Jo Malone fragrances, they're way overpriced for the longevity they have. Like on my skin, they have almost zero longevity. On the skin, on the clothes, it's a total different story. But on the skin, it's like not it's not good. But I keep buying the same fragrance from them because I just have not been able to find a dupe. It might be a more expensive one, but I just want it to last a bit longer. I'm not able to find a dupe for in English Parent Frisia. It's non-existent. So that's why I religiously every year I buy a fragrance, a new bottle, a certain ml bottle of that fragrance. And so for me, when I see the brands that just copy the exact same smell, well, or they say that it is the exact same smell, but because I have tried a certain fragrance by a certain brand and they say that it's an exact same smell, and so many people say, well, it's the same. I start doubting if those people have actually tried English Parent Frisia, because to say that that fragrance is absolutely exact same, if you have tried this one, you're not able to say that because it's not true. So I am sure, and this, you just cannot convince me other way. What brands do, it should be rewarded. The research and development, the the quality, the bottle, it has to be paid for. So I mean, and then you can be happy with the price you're paying. You might not be happy with the price you're paying, but you know that you have to pay for this item if you want a real thing. And that you can actually, if you like this certain fragrance, like let's stop with this one, with English parent freezer for a moment. And if you like this fragrance, if you absolutely love it, but you're not agreeing with the pricing, and I'm the first one to be not agreeing with the pricing, because the pricing is quite high for the quality, for the sillage, and for the intensity of the fragrance. But this fragrance isn't even meant to be intense, it's a cologne. So we have to keep in mind that just I'd rather buy myself a little teeny tiny bottle like that, and you can buy them separately, or sometimes you can buy them in pairs or in 5, 6. Well, it depends on what kind of set you're gonna get. Just buy yourself the little bottle and enjoy this fragrance, but enjoy the real thing. Do not go and do not buy, do not support those that have zero respect to the intellectual property, to the property that, to the thing that other people developed. Other people had put their thought, had put their work, their time, and you just go and buy a knockoff. And as I just said in the beginning, you do you. If you're fine with that, if you have no problem with that, you do you. You go inside, you buy whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. I just think that people have to be rewarded for what they do. And if people create fragrances, and this fragrance happens to be an expensive one, well, they have to be rewarded for that. So for me, it's more of an ethical problem than anything else. I don't think that it's ethical to buy knockoffs. And again, I'm not talking about fakes. I'm not talking about fakes, and I'm not talking about the fragrances that resemble. I'm I'm talking about the fragrances that fake to be the exact same fragrance. There's just three distinctive categories, and I'm totally against this third category, especially those little teeny tiny beautiful shops that you can get inside, and you have a catalog and you just pick the fragrance and they say it's the same. I'm against it. I'm totally against it. And some people might say, well, if you have money, you can buy whatever you want. Um, it's not about that, people, because you know that when you go in this shop and you buy yourself a fragrance from the catalog, you know that you're not buying the real deal. You know that you're buying a knockoff. And this in that moment, it goes a little bit further than an ethical problem. It goes to me to the category, who do you want to fool? Do you want to fool yourself because you have an exact understanding what you have just bought? You know that it's not a real deal. Do you want to fool the friends that have no idea? I mean, and if you have real friends, they just don't care what kind of fragrance you wear. They care about you, not your fragrance. So do you want to impress people around you? Why would you do that? Why would you want to impress someone? I mean, or if you want to kind of display casually, oh, I do have this fragrance, and you want to say, well, it's that fragrance. It's just, it for me, it doesn't worth it, really. Again, there are means and there are ways to have a real deal. If we talk about the Baccarat Rouge, they have an excellent opportunity on their website. You can buy their samples. They cost 14 euros for piece kit that you compose yourself, or then you can buy 11 ml on their website of the fragrance that you want. Let's say that you're a Baccarat Rouge fan and you just do not want to spend what it is, 130 or 40 for 35 mils. You get this one, get the sample, get the original sample, and just enjoy the fragrance, enjoy the real deal. Do not support this. And I know that it's gonna cost me kind of a couple of haters that are gonna send me some hate messages. I know it's gonna happen, and I know, and it did happen. I actually rejected a couple of collaborations. They were eager to send me some fragrances that resemble very popular fragrances. But it's not for me. It's not for me. I like to support the originality. I like to support the real deal. I like to support the creativity, the originality. I like those things. Well, we have to pay for that, yeah. But if you're not, you just have to understand. If you are willing to walk in that shop that sells these knockoffs, and let's also talk about the Baccarat Rouge, because I feel like it's one of the most popular ones. What do you want about this fragrance? Do you want the same exact fragrance? You're not gonna get it. You're not gonna get it. If you want the same exact fragrance but you're not willing to pay the price, go for the sample, go for the smaller, for the tinier size. You're gonna get the real deal. If you want a scent that kind of resembles, there's so many alternatives. You have um, Ariana Grande. You also have this one. In the beginning, the opening of the fragrance, this is Kayali Eden Juicy Apple. In the beginning, the opening is so juicy and it resembles of that exact Baccarat Rouge fragrance. I feel like it's not because it's not why I bought it, because I don't really well, I like the Baccarat Rouge extract version, but not as much as to to get a full bottle, or not even that one, because I do have like 10 samples of that fragrance. I'm not using it. It's not my jam. So you do have alternatives. So just and the alternatives, like for example in Zara, do I think that they smell exactly like Baccarat Rouge, those fragrances? Well, I don't. Because if you have a real deal, if you have ever smelled a real Baccarat Rouge, you're gonna be able to detect the real one. But those are good alternatives. But they are not copies. They're not blindly copying. They are introducing you to the fragrance, to kind of their point of view of this fragrance. It's a trend. They follow the trend. They give you their interpretation of the trend. The trend is Baccarat Rouge, so they give you their version of Baccarat Rouge, and they're not saying that this is the Baccarat Rouge. Yeah, no, and that I support. I support that. I do know that it's so hard sometimes to create something new, and there's a super popular fragrance that everybody is talking about, everybody is wanting it, and yeah, it's an easy way out to make your version, to add something to add something yours, to make it a little bit less sweet or more fruity, and you have this alternative. It's gonna cost you way less, but it's not gonna be a knockoff. So I do hope that I did not offend anyone, and I repeat, you do you. You do like those kind of shops, those kind of fragrances that just say that buy me and you will get that fragrance. You do you. I just think that the intellectual property should be respected. we should acknowledge that we should pay money to get an authentic thing. So yeah, do please share your comments or your thoughts on this. And I do know that it's kind of a hot topic and it's kind of controversial topic as well. And again, it's not about money. If you do not have enough money to afford the fragrance, or you don't want to spend it, you have the money and you just simply don't want to spend, buy yourself a sample. Buy yourself a sample. It's as simple as it is. Or buy yourself a smaller a smaller smaller bottle. Yeah, so this is all I wanted to tell you, and please share your thoughts down in the comments, and I wish you a happy Wednesday. Bye.